Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Saturday Morning Legion. This is Ash with you for this Triple S League. I got Cy right above me there, and then two blank squares because, well, we had MoonTAGG with us until just a second ago when her computer froze, like right at start time. Lovely how technology works, isn't it? Amazing. And we've also got a very, very tired Cyb.
Yes,
So,
is is a busy week,
yeah.
and dental more dental.
How does a
Uh,
cyborg, how does an android, wait, which one are you again?
cyborg.
How do you have dental work? How does that work?
Well, cyborg. Not every component. Not every, I don't
Yeah,
have every component. Is not you know.
you got some human parts. Well, everybody, welcome all of you who are watching live on YouTube and Twitch. Funky, Alexander, Paulie, Droblet, Circadian. Haven't seen you in a while. Droblet, I don't think I've seen you in a while either. Droblet asks Fallout New Vegas remaster. Well, we don't know anything for certain about that. Um, we're going to talk a little bit about the Microsoft we've been talking about the Microsoft Bethesda event that's coming up next weekend. Wait, is it next weekend? Yes. It'd be next Sunday that event's happening. Excited for that. I don't know. You know what? Even though E3 has been kind of a shit show lately, there's still some excitement about it for me. I don't know. I was thinking about it yesterday,
I
and
don't think it's well. Again, it's not E3. It's just the E3 weekend.
well, yes,
It's
exactly. What we just kind of call it
there's more
E3.
and more events that are not tied to the company that actually runs E3, and it's not actually
Sure. No,
it's just the season for game announcements.
exactly.
It's not run by the people who run E3. The people who run E3 are running that whole thing into the ground,
Yes.
and have been for several years now. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, it's not E3 that you know, it's not E3 I'm excited for. It is specifically it's just this whole season of game reveals, and we just kind of generally refer to it as E3. But yeah, it's not all E3. Um, the Bethesda event, in fact, has never been officially part of E3. They just hold it on that same weekend in sort of the same area, doing their own thing. But anyway, so yeah, so the reason I have the New Vegas thing on the thumbnail is partly because I couldn't think of anything else to put on there, but I mean, there's some stuff to talk about with Obsidian because we are expecting, a showing from them next weekend, and there's more rumors and leaks coming out. I'm not sure which are leaks and which are rumors, but we are hearing that we're expecting Outer Worlds 2 to be announced. Is that correct, Saib? Is
that
that's
that is
a
rumors
rumor?
and
Yeah.
speculation. At this point, there's nothing been, as far as I've seen or heard, concrete.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there was somebody who posted a screenshot of a character artist work, like three-dimensional artist work of what we believe was an avowed character that
Okay.
was like a year plus old. Yeah, from the data that they were pulling, is that it was from over a year ago, or about a year ago,
Okay.
and they're like, "Oh yes, look, this is proof that they're going to be talking about Avowed," and it's like, that's proof of nothing, sir. A, we don't even know if that game is still in development. They have there's reportedly 5 major projects that have been announced or tied to what Obsidian is doing right now. 5. That's a lot. That
Yeah.
does leave room for certain things to be put on ice, essentially, or to be delayed, or to be, you know, just kind of pushed back and not really functioning, as they prepare and as they continue to prepare to get focus on what they want to. Like, 2 years ago, nobody really saw Grounded coming, and Grounded has done really, really amazing. So again, that's not something that was in the cards, that they were super excited to talk about a few years ago, because they had no idea that it was going to be a project they were going to be working on. Essentially,
Mm-hmm.
it was just a lot of like devs that were just like, hey, we're going to mess with this just for you know um basically, as I understand it, they were just messing with it to kind of like get some engine capabilities under their wing. Like learn how to do things with this engine,
Yeah.
and learn how to do things a little differently with the engine. And what they ended up creating was something that just suddenly had a life of its own. And then when they put it out, people really enjoyed it, and it just kind of took off. So it's a lot of that kind of stuff when it comes to these game developers, where it's like we don't really know. Now, is it logical to assume that we're going to get an announcement on an update on Avowed, possibly maybe a teaser for the Outer Worlds 2, stuff like that? Yes, it is, but it's also possible that they could be doing literally any number of other things, because again, it's been reported that they have 5 projects ongoing, and that the the two heads, there's 2 people in particular, and I forgot their names. I didn't forget their names. It's like I want to make sure that I give it to the right people. So I'm gonna pull this up because I don't want to.
Yeah, fair enough.
I
5
I,
is
I
it,
don't want to reference it to the wrong person.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, basically they're working on another project that is super huge. That is like, that they've been, you know, that they've been preparing for a while, and this is their thing. This is something that they figure is going to be the best thing that they've ever created up to this point.
Hmm.
And that rumor started to come out, that thing started to come out only after um uh they got bought, the Microsoft bought out Bethesda.
Hmm.
So this is something that, again, it's like there is some significant stuff going on there at Obsidian, and we don't know exactly what or in what way that's going to be reflected. And you have to assume that this is something that's going to take a little while for them to like sort out, because again, they're still a fairly new, recent purchase by Microsoft. They're still slowly expanding. You can't just snap your fingers and have another 200 people working at your studio tomorrow. Like, anybody who tries that typically ends up getting hitting a wall quite hard. Like we saw what happened with um, CDPR. It's like I don't think that explosive growth was good for them. Looking at what we got out of Cyberpunk, was it that, or was it the fact that they didn't know how to handle that? So
I think if I'm going to point the finger at anything for Cyberpunk, it's I'm going to be pointing it at management. But yes, I
mhm.
mean, anyway, the 5 is a lot of projects for a studio the size of Obsidian.
Yeah, and again, I mean, I wouldn't. So they just announced, the Outer Worlds murder on I don't know how to pronounce this. Eridanos or Iranidos. It's this like murder mystery type
Yep,
thing, right?
I'll have to pull that up here. I
And
don't.
and it's a cool thing. It's really cool, but that just goes to show that they are continuing to work on the existing game. So how more likely is it for them to swap gears, announcing this expansion coming to that game, and then to announce the sequel to that game at the same time? Like, it's just not something that studios do, because they typically don't have that amount of energy and whatnot. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah,
And then
maybe
of
you have a
course
point.
it
Yeah.
doesn't, yeah, and it doesn't help that websites are running titles like Avowed may or may not be at E3 according to different sources. It's like, okay, great. So you wrote an article basically saying we have no idea what's going to be there. It's like, okay, you know, huh?
That's that's a non-headline if I ever heard one.
Right, exactly.
I mean, I suppose there's a bit of news in the fact that there's conflicting sources happening there, but I
Hmm.
mean, again, who are those sources? Where are they getting their information? Is anyone guessing? 'Cause, I mean, I could be a source for that. We might see Half-Life 3 at E3, but maybe not. There we go. There. Use that. You can quote me on that. That's an authoritative quote. I dare you to prove it wrong that we will or won't. One of the two. See Half-Life 3 at E3.
Right.
So, Atomic Stew says, are we having a Legion watch party? I'm assuming you mean for the Bethesda Microsoft thing next weekend. We are planning to restream it as we always have restreamed the Bethesda events. So catch us live next Sunday for that event. Yes, we'll be restreaming it with commentary. And probably some other events throughout E3 season as well. Not sure which ones exactly at this point, but of course, feel free to have all the watch parties you want in the Legion Discord server. By the way, if you haven't already, slam that Discord button. No, slam that like button, and of course, subscribe for tons more content. Yes, it was a bit of a sleep-deprived household or night in the Ash household as well. So the kids are getting new pet bunnies today, and they are so excited. And they could barely sleep. In fact, my daughter got up at like 11:15 last night. I was like, "Yeah, I just got up really early because I'm so excited." I'm like, "Hun, it's still today. It's not tomorrow yet. Go back to bed." It's not. I'm like, "No, you're not staying up all night. This is too early to get up." Like, getting up early can be good, but getting up yesterday is not good. So anyway, then my other daughter couldn't sleep, and so she crashed in the bed with my wife. So I wound up sleeping on the couch because she finally fell asleep in my bed, right where I usually sleep, and I didn't want to wake her up and move her, so I just crashed on the couch until like 6 in the morning. But anyway, so yeah, this we're all. I need to down some more of this brain juice here. The molecule of life, coffee. They're looking for how did life start? Well, just a drop of caffeine hit that primordial soup, and boom, here we are. So anyway, getting up yesterday is not good. Yes, feel free to quote me on that as well. Nothing like grilled bunny and some salad. Oh, Polly's. I actually did have. So we were on vacation once in a tropical location, and I tried rabbit because it was just on the buffet thing there. I was like, I'll try rabbit meat. Sure, let's see what it wasn't very good, but yeah, my daughter was not happy when she found out what I was eating. All right, Christian Winters, hi, welcome. All right. So
apparently, I've been trying to find the some of the details on this because it slipped my mind, and I had I've had like dental stuff done like already once this week, and I'm in a lot of pain. So apologies, I don't have more of this data like at the fingertips because my brain is like only running at like 30% right now. But no, so there is a couple of articles pointing out that Obsidian's working on essentially 6 projects as of the beginning of this year.
Oh my goodness, 6 projects.
That is that's huge, right? Now some of these stuff are small, and then others of the stuff hasn't been announced yet. So again, it's like there's a lot of stuff going on. They have been hiring like, relatively steadily and relatively constantly, but it's like, what exactly we're going to get and what exactly is going to show up here. I don't think we're going to get. I don't think they're going to show off a bunch of stuff that they just started working on like 6 months ago. Like, that's not something that's going to happen. We're not going to get 6 projects unveiled at Obsidian, next week. I think we're going to get an update on 1 or 2 of them, and that's it.
Oh yeah, most definitely. The question is which ones. What are we getting from? And I think it's completely up in the air as to what we're going to see. Even if they are working on Outer Worlds 2, there's no guarantee that we'll see it this year. We'll see any kind of info about it this year. And I really liked the Outer Worlds. I think that they could I would love to see more from that franchise. Would I rather they work on a Fallout project, say? Well, perhaps. I mean, the Outer Worlds definitely had a lot of that Fallout spirit, even though it was a very different setting. It had a lot of that Fallout spirit, but yeah, they're doing some good work over there. So I am very excited to see what they can do with that Microsoft money behind them. Yeah. So anything else about Obsidian
Um,
or the Microsoft event?
just basically at this point, it's like don't get your hopes too high for anything Obsidian. Obviously, we're going to get some of the stuff that they've already announced. We're going to get an update on Grounded because it's been doing well. The new uh Outer Worlds DLC or whatever you want to call it, that's coming up too. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, uh, there may be some update on Avowed, but again, Avowed is one of those things where it's like, if I were them, I would not be like, I wouldn't be working on it. Just there's just too much going on, and there's too much competition in that category from Microsoft, and basically it's like you don't want you don't want to put out too many, like, you want to go to when you go to a restaurant, you want to say like, hey, what are you guys serving? And it's like they're like, well, we have six variations of a bacon cheeseburger. It's like, wait, you mean burgers? Like you have six variants of a burger? Like, no, 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 no. We have six variants of a bacon cheeseburger that is only slightly different than each of the other ones. It's like, what? Well, like, is that your special? All of those are our specials, and that's it. It's like, you know, it's supposed to be a restaurant that caters to like multiple things. You're supposed to have a wide variety of options. It's not a fast food place that only does one thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, so that's what I feel that they might be getting into with trying to do Avowed, Elder Scrolls, Fable, like just all of this stuff all at once. Now, again, they're not exactly the same. I mean, Fable's not exactly the same as Elder Scrolls, and Elder Scrolls is not exactly like Avowed. Uh, but again, it's one of those things where it's like, if I were them, I wouldn't be working on it.
Hmm.
Now, I would probably be working on something else.
I think
Probably be working on something else that is the number one most requested game in the universe right now. I'd probably be working on that
hmm.
because it's not just that it's the number one requested thing; it's also the number one desired thing for most of the studio to be working on. So again, it rolls down to the scenario of like, well, how much are people interested in that versus like other stuff?
Hmm.
So,
I agree, and I think I mean getting the ball rolling on Avowed from a from just a lore perspective. Uh, I mean, how many people are familiar with the Pillars of Eternity universe? I mean,
like a smaller, like comparatively to like game IPs in general, it's a very small number. It's
mm-hmm.
not a massive thing. It's a very small, minute. For a lot of people, it was considered to be somewhat uh, I don't know, niche, I
Hmm.
guess. And that's not. I don't want to say that.
It's not that
I
it's
feel a little bad saying that because it feels like I'm trashing the thing. I'm not.
it's not to trash it, just to
It's
say
great.
that
I have a copy of it. I play it.
yeah,
It's
it's
great.
it's not that it's yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's not that it's bad or unpopular or anything like that. It's just not
Hmm.
it's not doesn't have it's not. I don't even know what to compare it to. Kisuke has a point. The extreme amount of time between Elder Scrolls releases. Um, I mean, there would be. I mean, we're not expecting Elder Scrolls 6 for
Hmm.
a long time yet, so there would be some space in there for that if they did go ahead with Avowed.
Well,
Um,
I mean, it depends, and it's one of those things where it's like, all right, you're absolutely right about that in the sense that there is a good chance that if we aren't getting Starfield this year, we're not even getting it early next year, we're getting it late next year. If that's the case, then the next Elder Scrolls game coming out of Bethesda is going to be like, we're looking at 2028 to 2029 maybe even 2030.
Yikes.
That's a horrifying prospect. Like,
Okay.
it really is.
Almost 20 years between Elder Scrolls releases at that point.
Yeah, that would be a
That's
nightmare.
crazy.
Now, if we get the game, if we get Starfield this year, that opens the door to getting the next Elder Scrolls game within 4 to 5 years. And that's a much easier pill to swallow, I think, for most people. So,
yeah,
especially if it's 4 years, then we're looking at 2025.
Yeah, that's not bad.
So,
I mean, that's still a long time since Skyrim,
yeah, no, it's ridiculous, right?
but that's definitely better to. Yeah, that's definitely better than. Yeah, like close to 2030. That'd be ridiculous. Any update on Moon's computer there?
Moon jumped
Have
in the
returned.
call.
You
So
have
she
it.
has- yay!
Oh, you're in the call now. Oh, good.
Yes, I was like trying to be patient and give it some time. I was like, please don't have another heart attack. Please don't have another heart attack, please. Because like literally like last night after like done day stuff, I was like setting up the stream, got my mirroring app to work, and I was like, yes, okay, I'm ready for tomorrow. And then this morning, half an hour before podcast, I'm like, yes, getting everything ready, getting everything set up. And then like literally 2 minutes, just everything froze. The only thing that was blinking was the text cursor to type in the chat, but I couldn't move anything. I couldn't type anything. And I was like, oh no, honey, I'm frozen.
Well, I'm glad you're here. We need your excitement. We need your we need your energy on this podcast. Sib and I are both struggling to keep the energy up here. So glad you're here with us. And plus, so you've got the art station back working again, and that's exciting.
Yes.
So, any idea what you're going to work on today?
I don't know yet.
Don't know yet? Well, maybe, are you ready to go with your thing?
Oh, yes. So, hi guys. Yeah, Funky, thanks for the message. He sends me a message that's like, hey, maybe it's a sign somebody's trying to tell you don't do the rant. I was like, heck that.
Heck
I'm doing
that,
my rant.
indeed, yes.
So, basically, discovered, the Horizon Zero Dawn developer explains why the women were made androgynous in like their games. Because like when we were watching that thing on Saturday, I was like, huh, she looks cool, I guess.
Androgynous.
You know, and then just kind of like her running around and stuff, like, you know, it's not to say the face is like not necessarily normal, but then I saw the face of the actual model that they use, and I was like, what the hell happened? And so basically their reasoning was that, oh, feminine looks don't equal strength.
Okay, then.
And so they made the features more masculine with the jawline and the broad shoulders, and basically changing the model's entire look. And they had a perfectly fine model to begin with. And
this
like,
isn't even the first game that we've seen this happen in, where they take the model or the actress that they're modeling the character off of, and they make them go from being very feminine to being not as feminine, reducing breast size, enhancing shoulders, creating larger jaw lines. It's a worrying and very creepy thing that has been becoming more and more normalized.
it's kind of like digitally policing women's bodies or clothes. Wow. Like, you know I have to deal with this in real life. I dealt with this growing up from like either people who I thought were friends or like family or whoever the case may be. Like, you know, there's certain circumstances for certain things, but a person can't help how they're born to look like. Really. Like, how dare you?
And why?
Seriously.
Why? Yeah. That's so messed up for all the reasons you might choose to do something like that. That's a messed up reason. By the way, this is her, Hannah Hoekstra. She's the model behind Aloy, and for a second I thought this was Emma Watson, but that's not her. So let's see here. So this is a comparison, I guess, compilation picture. I'm trying to find.
Hmm.
Oh, here we go. Here, this is a good one. Now this is
Right?
this is her in the first game though.
Hmm.
This is her in
And like,
Horizon Zero Dawn. Now
you know,
we look at one from. Uh, she's been hitting the chicken nuggets a little hard, I think, between
hmm
2017 and 2021. They
just like,
chonked her
did they
right
make her
out.
cross-eyed?
Well, look at the shape of the head. Like
Like it doesn't like
the head
just
shape is totally different.
totally different.
Like this is like
Like heck.
normal like oval elliptical shaped head. This is an egg standing on its fat end.
Yeah, if anything, with her running around and jumping and stuff like that, doing all the shit she's doing, I would think that she would become more chiseled, perhaps, from all the exercise and maybe the harshness of the environment. Like, how did she get so chunk?
Doesn't make any sense. And so yeah, exactly. And
It makes me so
really, yeah, feminine
sad.
does not
Like,
equal
okay,
strength. Well,
right? Like,
This
hey, then what
that's
happened with Mama Vampire? She's beautiful and
and she
intimidating,
is a
and she
badass.
blocks hallways.
She blocks hallways.
Right?
She can cut.
Like,
She can presumably cut your dick off from
mm-hmm.
10
Like,
feet. Like
she
you
is
see that scene
badass.
where she slices Ethan's hand off, like gets nothing. Yeah, that
Right?
could have been any. She
She
could have aimed
is
for a different
gorgeous and
extremity very
deadly.
easily.
Like, I think she's strong. Like, I look at her, I was like, oh, hello, Mama.
Oh hell
Right?
yeah,
Because I was just like, you're intimidating, but you're so gorgeous, I can't stop looking at you.
yeah, no, hell yeah.
Right? Like,
Plus,
that is a strong character. Like, why couldn't she be gorgeous and kick-ass? Like,
yeah, why not?
we have Lara Croft, and she's a fictional character.
Lara Croft, perfect example.
Like, did they when
well,
Angelina Jolie
there's
did she
Oh, here's
multiple. I
another.
mean, Angelina Jolie is not the best example because there is a number of people who have cosplayed as um, Laura Croft, and
Mhm.
they do so nearly perfectly, just naturally. So it's not like this is like an impossible feature or is not coherent with reality. It's like it is. And just like one of the articles that I read today that literally made me see red was that there was this school in the States that they took 80 kids, 80 girls from their class yearbook, and they like added very poorly, like
Very bad
photoshopped
Photoshop.
like different clothes on the girls because they didn't like um where their clothing was. And in some cases this was like, in some cases they took what the girl was wearing and they added literally half an inch of additional clothing on it, not to
If
cover
not
up like,
more.
not covering up like mid cleavage, just covering up like top line cleavage, like
Yeah,
barely
like literally
any.
what I've got going on here. Like, you can't see shit. You can't see anything going on. It's
Yeah,
literally skin.
and
Like,
it's like,
guys wear shirts that share more than this.
yeah, and it's like it's this disturbing trend of looking at people and saying, yeah, you're just not acceptable for polite society. That's what I'm seeing, and that's what these people are complaining about. These girls are complaining about, and it's like, ugh, it has gotten it's getting ridiculous. And the reasoning for this stuff is like, the guy gets up and he says, yeah, well, we do this because feminine features can't be strong. It's like, I don't think I've heard a more sexist thing in gaming for many many years. I mean, there's apparently a bunch of people running around saying, "Oh, no, 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 this isn't sexist," but to me, it's like,
Scream sexist.
to me, it screams sexism. I don't know how you can say that. Oh yeah, female features, they just can't be strong. That is an absolute like abomination of language. just generally speaking.
Yeah.
Like that is abominable to say to look at somebody and say that. You know,
So disrespectful.
it's
Like,
extraordinarily disrespectful.
everyone has a mom. Moms are
You
feminine.
think so? You think
Like,
so?
you know, everybody has come from a womb. So it's like, hello, if that's not strong, like that stuff can be very painful and very scary. And yet it still happens. These people still push through it because, you know, they're capable of it. They're strong.
Absolutely. Femininity.
Rage.
Like, the thing, I mean, I think for a long time, you know, feminism fought against this idea of women being weak and not able to be independent, and fighting against, they need a man to do things for them, that kind of a thing, you know. And obviously a lot of that is messed up, and we've gotten past that to a large extent as a society. But now it seems like there's a war on femininity completely, like wanting to erase it in the name of sexism, which is garbage. Because femininity does have, like you just explained, it has a strength to it. You know, there's a strength to motherhood and childbearing and all of that stuff that I sure as hell don't have.
Women are a force of nature.
I just want to show you a perfect example here. This is a picture of Ronda Rousey. She will F you up, right? She is tough. But
I don't know why you're picking that photo. She literally has one of those. She's got one of those jaw guards in her mouth in that photo. Those things don't make anybody look good. Those like, I mean, everybody.
Because look at the stream now. This is
looks like they're chewing on stuff. Yeah.
It's a comparison.
I think
this is another picture of her.
Yeah.
Incredibly.
I would point out here that the makeup on her is fairly light in this photo shoot. I wouldn't say that this.
Well, I don't give a shit about that. The point is that, you know, these are the same person. You know, she's a very apt example of strength and femininity, especially if you've seen her act in movies. Like she, in my opinion, pulls it off very well. And I think that what's that other MMC fighter who was in Mandalorian, and there was all that controversy about her. What's her name now?
I don't think we're allowed to say the name on YouTube.
Well, yeah, or whatever.
I think I think the great censorship gods are looking down at us, going, "Don't you dare!
Don't you dare! Don't you dare!" These are not pictures from my personal stash, Atomic Stew. I googled
Gina
it.
Carrero, by the way.
Right. I think she pulls it off very well too. So anyway, whatever. You know, yeah, this is why. Like, especially if you're going to make it so obvious. Why not just make her look like she did? You want to make her look a few years older because she's aged a few from the fold anymore. Shut up, guys. You know, if she's aged a little bit and got, you know, that's fine. Make her look a little different. But yeah, this is just, it looks like she's been sitting around eating Doritos for 3 years. That's what it looks like. This doesn't look like strength to me. This looks like the opposite.
Doesn't quite portray the environment very well.
Yeah. No.
Like, I thought they were living in harshness and the apocalypse in the jungle with robo-dinos.
Exactly. She's supposed to be incredibly physically fit.
Like, if we can have robo-dinos with feathers, why can't we have beautiful, strong, badass bitch?
Well, and there's that too. Like, there is a realism, like, you know, you have some fighting games where you have this tiny little woman beating up this humongous muscle man.
Right?
You know what? You know, is that realistic? No. Do we care? No. It's supposed to be fun. It's a fantasy. It's a video game. We don't care. It, like, realism in that context doesn't matter to a lot of gamers, I don't think. Like, I think that,
and it's like, you can certainly argue like creative differences, like like they're trying to say it's just like this is my vision, and I was like, well, I don't like what you think in your vision. This is terrible. If you think that strong people are ugly or strong people are always just heavy set people, like you know, just go. Your knowledge seems very very small,
Yes.
very small.
She needs Horizon Zero
Awesome.
Calories.
Thank you for the super chat, Pollies. Developers need to stop pandering to stupid woke Twitter mob. Just say no and make games you want, and there's nothing the woke crybabies can do to you. Kingdom Come, Deliverance Dev says no, and they're doing just fine.
Very true. You just ignore them; they'll eventually get bored and go away. I mean, what are they gonna do? So I mean, yeah, I mean,
Right.
the dev, they can do this if they want, but
Also, another way they could make her look more strong is like war paint. Yeah, like put on like something to make you feel like deadly, like because like animals in the forest and whatnot, and nature and stuff, they have markings too. Why not emulate that tree frog if you want? I got some orange and pink in here. Can't see it too good, but it's there.
right on. So, yeah. Well, thanks for your thoughts on that. I think, yeah, you should rant more often. Moon actually Moon rants a lot when she's not live with us. Like when we're not live, she rants quite a bit actually.
I got lots of things to say.
Very opinionated, and her opinions are very good. So
Comes from many experience.
mm-hmm.
And like just paying attention, really. I watch things, I wonder about things, and I talk about them with people I trust.
Do we want to talk, Saib, about this about PlayStation looking to make more acquisitions, or at least there's hints of that going on? Do you have anything to say as far as that? PlayStation potentially wanting to.
So PlayStation is, I mean, they realized what was going on when Microsoft started buying things out like crazy. And they also realized that there's a good chance that they're going to be losing something. I mean, there's a number of rumors going on. And those rumors are not kind to the future of PlayStation if they can't replace some of the things that, and they are losing a considerable amount of them. So this is something that, again, it really does require them to, Sony to pick up their game and to start doing more of what they can. So,
well, and this is the direction that they've doubled down on. They've doubled down on the big blockbusters, and so I'm assuming they want the big first party titles. They've neglected some of the smaller markets, especially studios. Yeah, especially
a lot of indie games, a lot of games that had a small cult following. They're gone, and they've taken a lot of people with them as far as their fans go. It's still they're still facing vastly underwhelming sales in Japan. Japan, one of the few countries where you can still go to most places and pick up a PlayStation 5 because nobody's buying them. Not nobody, but
they actually have some available
than
over
they
there?
would like.
Wow.
From what I've heard, yeah. So it's one of these things where it's like we see what the different what the different consoles are focusing on. We see what's going on, and we're hopeful, somewhat in some level, to kind of like make this to see these. I don't want to see either one of these platforms die. I want to see them have healthy competition, because when they're having healthy competition, including the healthy competition on the PC, I think then we will see actual progression in the form of technology. Right now, we haven't been seeing a lot of, like, I've said before, consoles started out kind of good for the game industry. Obviously we wouldn't be where we're at without Nintendo, without Super Nintendo, without the Sega Genesis, without the evolution of the consoles that we got, even especially the Xbox, the first one. A lot of this stuff drove the creative decisions and creative construction of studios, of publishers, of financiers, coming in and putting their money down and helping to establish these things. But it's just as bad as publishers have been in some cases when they like, look, we don't want you to take chances. We just want you to make the generic stuff that you've always made. We just want you to continue to do the same thing over and over and over again. And I don't think that's a healthy thing. I don't think that's a good thing. I think that causes more problems than it cures, really. So yeah, I think just overall we're starting to see some negative stuff coming from the consoles, and I don't want to see that. I see that Microsoft is they're moving outside of their comfort zone with allowing most of their games to end up on PC as well. I think that's a great thing. But overall, again, when we're looking at the overall direction from Sony, I worry that all we're getting is this, very fancy, like, it's nice to look at, but there's not actually that much there, you know. So I don't know.
I have a visitor. She came to see me. I have the puppo.
Oh.
The poor puppers.
She is.
So yeah, I think overall between this and a bunch of other stuff that's coming out, we have some things to worry about here. And again, I would encourage people who are trying to figure out what to get, to wait until after E3, obviously, and to probably wait a good like month afterwards if they have you know if they have the ability to buy the two, or if they have the ability to invest in a PC. It's like, wait to see what's coming, because I think what we're going to see coming down the road is we're going to see more games ending up on the PC. Um, just because again, this stuff is something that the studios, specifically the studios, are interested in. They want more people playing their game. They're less concerned about people playing other stuff, right? Like they're less concerned about losing people to the PC or to other consoles just by focusing on putting out good stuff. And this is something that we've been seeing both Microsoft and Sony starting to do. Sony's stating that they are going to be bringing us out more stuff for the new generation, but they've also had some complex and like kind of like cross-eyed stuff going on here with their generation stuff too, because more of their games, you know there's a lot of consternation about like, well, what's being shipped on the PlayStation 5 versus the PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know, I just hate the idea of developers being forced to take their games and take a game that's designed for the PlayStation 5 and then backward making it like so that you play it on the PlayStation 4. I still don't think that's a good thing. Like, I worry about that having a long, what kind of long-term effect that's going to have
Well,
on
that
stuff
seems
too.
like a very inefficient way of doing things. You make your game for the next generation, and then you try to backtrack it so that it runs on the old generation machine. That seems ludicrous to me.
And I think, and honestly, I really do think that this really hurt Cyberpunk. I think they should have made a decision. Are they making a game for the current gen, or are they making a game for the next gen? Because what they made for the current gen doesn't really work, and that has negatively affected what's coming down in the future too. So
Yes, indeed. Speaking of which, we should talk about the big leak thing. But first, we've got up on the screen here what Moon's working on. You've been inspired, I see.
Yeah.
So, you gonna give us a hint, or just let us guess what you're?
You can watch. I was like trying to see the picture at first because I couldn't see it. I could see a figure in there, but I'm just like can't quite make it out. But now I'm just like, yes, this looks right.
Okay. All right. Well, I will bring up uh, the Cyberpunk 2077 and Witcher project source code that was all stolen from CD Projekt Red during that big hack a few months back. That is now being distributed and leaked online, and I've got the graphic up here of the message that these hackers sent out. Sup chooms, we announce a charity fundraiser. Who don't believe us can go F himself. I don't believe that they're raising the money for charity. But they're releasing Thronebreaker, Witcher 3, Witcher 3 RTX version, and Cyberpunk in password protected, archive files, zip files, specifically 7-zip. And they're going to give out the passwords for donations of $10,000. So
What?
yeah,
What?
they claim they're raising money for charity. Yeah,
Which charity?
yeah, right. Like, who cares? They're probably. I mean,
I don't think they're right. I don't think it's charity. I don't see where you're getting that from. They're just saying they want people to donate money to them.
First line
To,
here
like, raise
says,
disgusting.
we announce a charity fundraising. Maybe they.
I don't think that's again that's I don't think they have a charity that they're putting money to
No,
in
of
any
course
case,
not.
and I think that's a like a tongue in cheek thing. I think it's like they're raising money for themselves
Well,
to
clearly.
spend on stuff. This just goes to show that as much as there has been a problem with a lot of stuff with with Cyberpunk and an enormous amount of frustration there are a lot of people that really hate CDPR. Like, not just after the game release to less than obviously less than what we were hoping for, but there's just a lot of people who just really despise them. Like, it's really
Is this a case of despising them, or is this a case of them just
no,
being
because yes,
advantageous?
this has been this kind of stuff. We were tracking this for months, and I mean well over a year before it came out. This is an enormous amount of hatred just pointed directly um, at this game studio, and just they just despise them. Like, you don't go to this length. Like, they're really like these guys are flirting with like serious jail time, and again, they're doing it not to make they're not making millions of dollars. They're doing this primarily to just destroy them. So yeah, it's disturbing.
Well, I mean, sure. I mean, I agree with you that there definitely has been a lot of hatred and bad blood aimed at the studio. Um, yeah, again, like, do as far as the motivations of these people specifically, I mean,
I would say you don't go to the effort that they went to. You don't beat your head against investigations and police and international security bodies coming for you to again go around all of that to then put out the source engine to for basically for free, essentially, is what they're doing here. Because they're not making $100,000. I mean, they're not making any of that money that they wanted to make. They're just doing this at this point to just screw over CDPR. And it's like, wow, you guys really hate them, don't you?
well, they probably do. I mean, you don't do this to a studio you like, obviously, but yeah, it does appear they're in it for the money too. I mean, they may not get a lot of donations, but at 10K each, I hope nobody gives them money. First of all, I hope nobody donates a damn thing to them. But anyway, yeah, so that's kind of where we're at right now. And that's about all there is to say about that. But speaking of ridiculous amounts of money for ridiculous things, how much would you pay for this chicken nugget?
Oh, you found a picture!
I got a good picture of it. This chicken nugget just sold in an auction. It sold on eBay for almost $100,000, if you can believe that. Because it kind of looks like an Among Us character, and I would argue it barely looks like it. I mean, it's got these two
He's got the two
bumps
stubs.
that are just legs, but I mean, if you turn it upside down, it kind of looks like a bear head with ears. But whatever. Sells for
Or
almost,
bunny rabbit.
yeah. So a McDonald's chicken nugget shaped like an Among Us crewmate has sold in an eBay auction for just under $100,000. In late May, McDonald's customer listed a chicken nugget on eBay from a BTS combo meal. I don't even know what that is, but
BTS is a K-pop group. It's a boy band. Choreography, dance, and
okay,
and
so
pretty
it's
boys.
like one of those licensed things they do.
Yeah.
The seller
For the
hoped to fetch
stands.
over. He hoped to fetch over $1,000. The things people will buy. My goodness. Because what are you going to do? Wait till the person that bought this, what are they planning to do with it? Not eat it.
Also, I gotta say, the storage of this is really. It seems really terrible. Like I would have put this thing into like a little glass box and then filled it up with that like clear like a clear like hardening resin or plastic type thing to just kind of like seal it in there.
Yeah, seal it in, preserve it.
And you preserve it in a permanently into a thing. Like again, like who's spending $100,000 on this and why? Do people really have that much money to burn?
Max is wondering why we're talking about chicken McNuggets. We're talking about a chicken McNugget that sold for $100K. So, yeah, I don't know if you just joined us, Max. By the way, shout out Max Darrett. Welcome, man. Good to see you. Max has a great channel, and Max and Saib have been collaborating quite a bit lately. Do you want to plug that project at all, or do you want to wait a bit? The other channel you guys are working with.
It's something that Max was approached to do by a channel that was wanting to help get. They have a whole bunch of creators on the channel that it's called the Disability Channel. That most of these people are disabled in some way or another, but they are experts in the field of certain things that they talk about. So they've been doing this. The channel's it needs a good growth spurt. So this is something that we've been trying to help them with by creating a weekly, more kind of like a pillar content to kind of like help establish the channel and help it grow. So yeah, you can check that out if you want. We cover game news in about 45 minutes, and we have some
all about inclusion.
It's an interesting like thing that we're working on to try and like see if we can help it grow. So yeah, Max, can you drop that in the if you want to, you can drop the channel or a link or whatever if you want. You can do that. I think you can do that.
I'm not sure if he can or not, but I've got it here. And yeah, so you
all about inclusion.
What the heck? Why does that keeps auto playing? Sorry about that. All about inclusion. All right, so there's a link if you guys want to check it out. So Max and Saib have been doing maximum news on that channel, and it's got the most views of any recent video. You guys have been doing some good work there. So
yeah, and again, it's like we're just trying to help again, it's not a group of content creators specifically. It's a very large group of people that add content to that
Yes.
channel. So
By the way,
trying to help it get more traction and help it grow.
this is the McNugget, Max, and the reason it looks like an Among Us character, and that's why it's sold. By the way, the apparently the Among Us. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna put Moon's Arc back on the screen here for a second, and I'm gonna go grab a link someone dropped in our Discord earlier. There's a apparently the Among Us developers responded to this in a funny way, so I'm gonna go dig that up. So Moon and Saib, talk amongst yourselves for a moment while I find that.
So, I mean, what else do we have coming up here to next week? We're going to have a lot of news dropping. More and more of it's going to get out. Typically, what happens is there's a lot of advertisers. You know, advertising is one of the biggest leaks for the industry because as you're coming up to launching a product, say you have a game that's coming out that you haven't really talked about, you're going to launch it sometime in early August, but your announcement date for it is going to be the E3 weekend, and you've bought some TV spots, some internet stuff, maybe a bunch of billboards, stuff like that, and you've bought that, and you're preparing to like drop it out into the wild right before um, E3, like literally a few hours before you talk about it live, that advertising is going to start kicking into servers. That is something that is very hard to keep under wraps because um, in a lot of cases, especially for TV stuff, uh, or some other like formats, it's like the minute that you push it out to hit a certain audience, there are literally thousands of people that see that before it hits market. And again, not a lot of these people like leak, maliciously, but some of them are like, "Oh my goodness, I just saw the coolest ad that's coming out for, such and such a thing. I'm really excited for this." And, people like literally lose their minds and start going, "Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness." So stuff like that, obviously we had that one leak many years ago where a guy walked into the E3 showcase floor um, with a camera inside a box and recorded a bunch of stuff that he was not supposed to record and then posted it up online. It's like, first of all, like wow, what the gall. But yeah, it's not healthy to do that. It's it's not healthy to do that just in general, but it's like it is unavoidable essentially. And so this stuff does get out and then rumors start circulating. So obviously we're going to be seeing a ton of stuff dropping like crazy. So be prepared for that kind of stuff. Be prepared for what we're going to start seeing here in a little bit. Um, apparently, we're getting a I don't know what you want to call this. It's like a Marvel strategy game. So Marvel superheroes, but it's coming in the XCOM style. So, what are your thoughts on this, guys? Because I'm kind of interested. I'm a huge fan of XCOM type games. I really love them. They're some of my favorite stuff. However, obviously, we don't have a nice relationship with 2K. 2K can kindly bite it. Um, and yeah, so I'm really torn about this. Like, obviously, I like the concept of the idea of like, coming out with like something that is that turn-based, like, tactical Marvel thing. I feel that XCOM needs, like, it was great. XCOM 1, XCOM 2, like the recent, editions of it. Some of the other games that have come out like it. As much as I hated that stupid Dungeons of Nahubruck for its mechanics, I did enjoy the experience for the most part. Um, it was a hair-pullingly frustrating game to play at times, but I did feel that just overall the game did have some significant potential, and I enjoyed it, and I enjoy pretty much all like turn-based stuff like that. I really like that. I'm absolutely, man, I can't tell you how much I love Baldur's Gate 3 right now. It's fantastic. I know it's not nearly as it's not quite in the same vein as an XCOM, and that's what I mean by XCOM. I feel like it needs to up its game a little bit because it is a little too simplistic at times. Not in the ability quadrant. There's a lot of abilities that you can get, especially with some of the newer games that they put out. But the grid system, I think, needs some general improvement, and so do a couple other things. Like, yeah, they have some explodable terrain features and stuff like that. But I feel that there's a little bit more that you can do that I feel that Baldur's Gate is really bringing up. So
Right on. Moon is working very meticulously there. Looks good, whatever it is you're working on. So we have. I found what I was looking for. So the Among Us developers responded to the chicken nugget situation with this video. And so let's watch this. I haven't seen this yet, so let's just check this out. The Nug. By the way, the task up there, it's a little bit cut off, but the task of this player is to become the $1 million Nug. That's that's their Among Us task.
brilliant, right?
So let's see
That
this
is
here.
Great.
Oh. So that's what it is. Just
That's great.
he's the imposter. That's funny. I love it when game developers have a sense of humor instead of taking themselves so damn seriously, like many game journalists, as we ranted the other day. By the way, I apologize
Should
for
we
it.
talk about the changes that are happening over at EA?
Yeah, might as well. Here, I'll put the art back. And
So
yeah, go ahead.
there is some considerable healthy progress being made over at EA, of all things. And it's all basically comes down to a woman called Laura Miel, I believe is how you pronounce her last name. But Laura is the head of Worldwide Studios, and when she got this position, it was about a year ago-ish. I want to say a year and a half ago, maybe a little bit more than that. I'm not quite certain when she. I remember hearing about it. I remember lots of people being excited about, industry people being excited about her getting the position, and they were excited about it because she was eager to identify why EA was struggling with its fans. And anytime you have somebody who's interested in finding the answer to why, your company is the most hated company in the world by its own users, and why people hate you as a studio, as a development partner.
Maybe why you're being voted worst company in the world, or
Yeah.
worst company in North
Yeah.
America,
Well,
stuff like that.
Yeah. Whenever you're interested in finding that, maybe there's some potential for somebody to learn something and perhaps approach and change, what they're doing and how they're doing that kind of thing. So apparently one of the first things that she did, she got a whole bunch of influencers together, put them in a room, and asked the question, why do we have the problem with our what is our problem? And one of the content creators, and I really love to find out who this is, stated the obvious. He said apparently that we feel that you guys hate your own gamers and you don't listen to us. We ask you for something and you tell us no, and then you give us something that we don't want, that we aren't interested in. And then you continue to cram this down our throats. And so I think what she's done is she's basically walked in, and apparently most of the success that Respawn's had recently has been due to her like motivation of walking in there and saying, "No, you guys make what you want to make. We're not going to dictate what you want to make." And again, this is the mentality that Microsoft is approaching their studios with. They're approaching their studios with, "Look, we bought you out because we feel that you are good at making video games, and we don't want you. We're not going to demand or insist that you make a number one game that's going to rake in $1 billion of revenue a year with microtransactions. We're not going to tell you to do that. We want you to make whatever game you want to make and make it the best way that you can. Because if you're interested in money and growth and a company, you would want to be behind the creators of Minecraft more than you'd want to be behind the creators of Apex. Despite the fact that Apex has made $1 billion in the last year and a half, um, they have what they've made pales in comparison to what Minecraft has done. And it certainly pales in comparison to Minecraft when it comes to like gaming culture. Apex has had its moments, and it's a decently fine battle royale game that has a ton of microtransactions in it that are really unhealthy. So I guess it gets like a D on my list. Like it's not, at least it's not like, selling you red dots. I suppose you could argue. But it's still not something I would actively want to involve myself with. But I would rather I'd rather be behind, my Minecraft than all this other stuff, because like you actually had it affect culture, and you had it affect the world at large, and I think that's a good thing.
Mhm. By the way, Moon, message on Twitch chat here from Mandy saying artwork looking awesome.
Oh, thank you.
That's looking really good.
But yeah, I don't know why people at EA couldn't figure this out before Laura took over. It's it's such well, it's also very possible they just didn't care because treating their fans like crap was still making them a ton of money. So
Clearly.
Kisuke says, "Ha, I'll believe it when I'm dead." Okay, well, I mean,
Well, again, it's like I don't know if they can change around, because she's one person in a studio where there are so many people.
mm-hmm.
There are so many people.
Yeah, it's not like she's
that believe.
Yeah, they're stuck on the old way of doing things, or the current way of doing things, I should say, and they don't necessarily. I mean, even if she wants to change things up, like I don't think she can just unilaterally do that. But they the decisions they made with Respawn have seemed to have paid off, giving Respawn some autonomy, and Respawn really was the black sheep there, and that they used even them using Unreal Engine 4 instead of Frostbite. They're sort of bucking that company trend, and it's paying off for them. So hope to see more of that. Paulie says, "Wait, you're talking about EA and you don't demand us to buy the Rant DLC? Not here."
Yeah, just overall, I would encourage most people to not, obviously, don't jump on this. Like, this isn't them saving EA. I think EA is still largely headed for a brick wall. But it does depend, right? It does depend on how much they change and how much they back away, and then how long is that change really going to be there for, right? Like I
exactly.
guarantee you, there's a lot of people in the investor wing of these companies that are like, maybe we could just start doing microtransactions again. maybe we could just do some of this live service because I mean, you remember how much money we were making off of this before? Like I
All
just
the monies.
like there's so much money, so much money. It's like
Fill my swimming pool with it, and then dive in,
Swim in it like Scrooge McDuck.
and then drown in my money.
Suffocate
Yeah,
from
exactly.
the weight of it.
Yes, get crushed by man. You ever picked up a jar of coins? Like those suckers are heavy when you get a bunch of them together.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yep. I don't know. I mean, I'm not holding out hope. I do hope that. I mean, like I said, I hope Respawn stays on the course that it's on. I hope that there's another. I hope there's a successor to Jedi Fallen Order that is decent as well. Let's see. EA has reached the maximum revenue possible with their previous game plan. They need a new game plan. Laura could usher that in, potentially. I mean,
I do feel that they have been kind of hitting the wall.
I mean, Kisuke, your skepticism is absolutely understood and shared, I think. I mean, we'd be talking about basically a revolution within the company, entirely changing how they're doing things. And then, like Saib said, how long would that last, even if they did change things up? I mean, you look at how fast, a company can turn around for the better or turn around for the worse. We've seen that a lot over the past few years. Xbox turned things around for the better, and then CDPR let us down. So it really goes to show, like, there's no, I don't want to say this, like, don't, like, I guess fandom of a company must be conditional. It's probably a really clunky way of saying it, but
I think it's accurate. It needs to be conditional based off of like continued production and promise.
Mm-hmm.
I've said this many times. I follow a lot of indie games, and there's some indie games where the creator takes a break for a year or two. One of the ones that I've been following for a long while, the person took a break for, I need to make sure I get this right. I believe the person has taken a break since 2015. And he had several hundred people that put money on the table saying, here's this money for when you release a new update to your game. And it's not a small amount of money. It's in fact it's a fair amount of money for him to return and continue to work on the game. But it took him more than 5 years to get back into the swing of things after having gone on a very extended break. And during that time, he took some more classes. He learned how to do more stuff. He wanted to make this thing the best that he could, and he felt like he was hitting the wall with the current technology that he was using. So he had to go and he had to rebuild it from the ground up, essentially. But because that wasn't an update on the actual, game that he was making beforehand, he didn't feel like he should be taking people's money for that. So yeah, that's something that kudos to him for having some gumption, right?
Mm-hmm.
For saying no, I'm not just gonna take your money and run. And I feel that that's what a lot of these larger studios do quite frequently and do quite willingly. Even when it comes across as extremely not cool.
Mm-hmm. Atomic Stew says, outside of some indie devs, let's be honest, no company cares about the gamer. It's the money in their wallets they care about. I mean, there is absolutely truth to that, and I think that there's a partnership that happens. When you have a good relationship between a company and their community, and I think those are good things. Like it's good when a company is invested in its community, when it has community managers and community people to sort of liaison between the gamers and the company. I think that's an incredibly healthy thing, and that's something that CD Projekt Red was trying to do, and it seems to be something that Dying Light 2 devs are trying to do now a lot more. Hopefully it goes a little better for them. But yeah, so the company needs to make money. That's why the company exists, right? It's not a charity. They're not just making a game as a passion project. I mean, hopefully you have a combination of those things. Hopefully you have people who are passionate about the project, who care about the quality of it, as well as needing to make money. I mean, it's like game devs can't just work for free, right? They need to get paid. Investors, you want to get investors, you got to offer them a return on their investment. So money is an inevitable part of the equation. But you would hope that, that they care, there's an aspect of the company that cares about the community as well. And, I don't think the two are necessarily, I don't think it's a zero sum. I think you can have both. And Funky Moin says, the Dark developer refused the Epic exclusivity money so he could keep the promise he'd made with all his backers. And I think, yeah, absolutely. That was a good move on his part. I wonder if he's done anything else since. Yeah, I think you can have both, like I said. And I think the healthiest companies do have both. The healthiest companies do have community liaisons. But there's also there's a financial benefit to having a healthy relationship with your community, having a healthy reputation. I think that it's more of a long-term benefit. But again, like with the example that Funky just pointed out, when this guy refused the Epic exclusivity deal, and we know some of that now. It wasn't these massive amounts of money for these little indie games, but we know Epic was not shoveling out small amounts of money for these exclusivity deals. But people went and bought his game just because of that, just because he had this reputation for being honest in an industry that, honest and keeping his promises, in an industry where a lot of, that can be a little bit scarce. So I think there's absolutely a benefit to having that good reputation, to maintaining that good reputation. I think companies are shooting themselves in the foot when they screw over their the people that provide the money in the form of buying the game. As Funky says, the big change that needs to be done in the AAA industry is that shareholders, although they are the most important client, are second to the gamers. Well, yes, but that would make...
In that case, I mean, you really have a catch-22 here. It's like you wouldn't get a lot of investment into game marketing without the shareholders at least being able to say something. And they should be, they should understand that it's art, and they should understand that you can't formulate art's growth. Art is going to grow. It's going to shrink. It's going to grow. It's going to shrink. It's going to take time to develop. It's going to take time to, hammer out the kinks and the problems, especially interactive art, because that's what this is. That's what video games are. It's interactive art, and there's a lot of problems that you introduce just by making anything interactive. So yeah,
right.
problem.
Like even when I got the art stream going here, I went through a couple of drafts first before I settled on this thing, because you're going to have a lot of ideas, and not all of them are going to be good. You hope that some of them, or a good portion of them would be good, but it takes time. It takes trial and error. And you got to be willing to learn from your experiences, really, whether it's mistakes or successes.
Most important lesson I learned in design school when I took digital media, but I had a class on the theory of design, and the most important lesson that I took from that, though, is that you're going to have... most of your ideas are not going to be great. You're going to have tons and tons of ideas. You got to create tons and tons of ideas, and then take the best ones and run with them. It's kind of that 80-20 thing that Saib talks about all the time. So, yeah. I mean, I've had so many ideas for Triple S content that never goes anywhere, and I look at it and I'd put hours into it and realize, yeah, this isn't this isn't worth continuing with. And it's kind of painful when that happens, because then you're like, well, but the time I already put in. But there's always a benefit. You learn from it, and you grow as a creator. So, Notional says, if you don't want your female protagonist to look like a man, don't buy our game. Horizon Zero Feminine Horizon Zero Feminine Dev probably. Thanks, Notional. Appreciate that. Moon's drawing something very feminine, and is she like holding a dinosaur head or something?
So one of my favorite characters when I was like playing games growing up, because I had a Super Nintendo and I had Chrono Trigger, and
yes.
I played that thing over and over again because I wanted to talk to all the different girls, and this reminds me of Isla, the prehistoric girl that you get to meet because we got a time machine, right? Chrono Trigger. And so yeah, basically she's literally wearing just like a little like wrap, a little bottom, furry boots, because prehistoric times, and like she's super badass. She was my heavy hitter. I love having her in my party. It was great.
I wanted to talk to all the girls when I was a kid too, but they didn't want to talk to me. All right.
That's why I talk to them in video games.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I just found this other news story that I want to check out just because it sounds hilarious. You can now trigger your real home's alarm when your Rust base is being raided. You've got to be kidding me.
Yeah. I don't think that's a good idea.
The Rust Plus app now supports IFTTT, so you can connect your server to other apps and smart devices. New Rust update, okay. IFTTT, if this, then that, is a software platform that connects it, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, this is less entertaining than I was assuming, but apparently you can, so you can hook that up to your real house alarm. So if your Rust base is being raided, you can get your alarm going off.
What? Why would I want that?
Well, I mean, some people do, really, really, really connect with the Rust bases.
I have never played Rust, but what I understand if my understanding is that it's very cutthroat, and yeah, like if someone goes and they can just totally mess your base up while you're offline, and so you might want to be alerted when that happens. However,
Sanctuary.
I'd rather get, maybe a notification on my phone, not so much not so much my house alarm.
I don't want my house alarm to go off.
I mean, that's
it's kind of like those people who get those sport horn thingies, and then whenever a game is playing, it like does a really, really, really loud when they score or something.
Yeah, exactly. That's immersion on a whole other level. Let's see what else they've got for us. Half-Life Alyx multiplayer mod lets you join your friend as a useless floating robot. Well, that sounds fun. So what, you just float around and watch them?
I mean, even that gives you some power because they can scout for you.
Yeah, exactly. Polly says, I heard the Rust community is very toxic, like legit toxic. So, okay, I watch...
It's a good question, yeah.
I watch this Mario streamer called Grand Pooh Bear, and he started out streaming Rust, and he has a funny story about one of his Rust servers, because apparently this is where I get the majority of my knowledge about Rust. What is hearing him talk about it, but he says eventually every Rust server just kind of, you try to live at peace, but it eventually devolves into everybody killing everybody. So they had all these factions in his server go to war with each other, and then basically they arranged a meeting, like a peace talk between the leaders of these factions. Oh, no. And one of the guys comes riding on a turtle. that's called the Turtle of Peace. He called it the Turtle of Peace. He comes riding in on the Turtle of Peace to this meeting, and so they all have this nice peace talk. Then they come to terms. Then the guy gets up, detonates the Turtle of Peace, kills everybody, and the server, as far as I know, is just a bloodbath to this day.
My gosh.
So that's
Trojan.
Yeah, exactly. So that is okay. Can I just say I hate these pop-ups that appear as soon as you scroll your mouse out of the website area. Like, stop it.
You gotta look at me. They're saying me. They're like seagulls.
I hate these websites. Since the mod only tracks head, position, and rotation, you can't exactly do much but float around as an extra pair of eyes. I mean, yeah, but it's like having a scout robot, like Sab said, that you can scout ahead and see where the enemies are.
Yeah,
that's neat. Yeah. What else does PC Gamer have for us? Let's see. Someone spent there's the chicken nugget story. Knockout City, 5 million players. I haven't tried that one yet. Has anyone use ad block? See, how I have an ethical issue with using ad block because we make a good chunk of our revenue from ads. But like the pop-up, it's not an ad pop-up. It's them saying, "Hey, let us invade your email inbox, send your browser notifications." It's like, no, shut up, go away. Injustice 2 dev apologizes for celebrating Pride in the worst way possible. This sounds like fun. The DC Fighters Mobile Edition sure did challenge players to beat up a queer woman. Okay.
What?
For a while now, Botanical Supervision villain Poison Ivy has been portrayed as canonically bisexual and has increasingly paired up with Harley Quinn in recent years.
The new Harley animation is like a cartoon is phenomenally good.
Is it?
It's surprisingly good. They make constant jokes about like everything. They point fun at like, I'd say they point fun at all sides fairly evenly, and they don't like, it's not like in your face thing, which is a contrast so starkly to the movie that came out, the Birds of Prey, where it was just awful. It was just terrible writing. And again, it just comes down to the writing. It's like, no, your stuff's not funny because it's like, pushing your world narrative. It's just, you're just a terrible writer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just not interesting or fun or unique. Mm-hmm. It's just like, oh, hey, look at that. Oh, I guess we're going down this road again.
So, Sword Sister says, I am so lost at the moment. Well, sorry about that. I have been kind of jumping all over the place. We went through the major topics we wanted to talk about, and then I had a couple of games. I was thinking about streaming a couple of games, but we can't go too much longer. I need to wrap up a little earlier than normal today, because, like I said, the new pets are coming through the door. Well, literally any time now.
You're gonna be streaming. You're gonna be setting up a stream for those pets at some point, right? Like obviously not on this channel.
Well, there may be plans in the works for a YouTube channel featuring 2 Netherland dwarf bunnies. They're adorable. They're like,
or at least we'll put up a short
tiny,
or
tiny
every once in a while.
Oh, it's the news that I just read that you're lost about. Yeah, I was expecting this to be kind of funny, but it starts off, look, as a queer woman, and immediately it's like, this is kind of written like trash, but basically basically, I guess this game has a queer character, and you can beat her up and Okay, there's a DC punch-up Injustice 2 whose mobile version chose to celebrate Pride by challenging its players to beat up a bisexual character. So
Probably just the fact that the bisexual character was a boss and you weren't beating them up. It was so much as like it was just a training thing, like a sparring thing. And it's like so
maybe,
like,
but it's kind of, I mean, it's dumb for sure. It is dumb. Like they didn't think through the optics of that. But as Paulie says, like, yeah, it's okay to beat her up 11 months out of 12 in the year. But, yeah, go figure. I mean, really, though, the whole point is, like, these companies try to virtue signal and it always bites them in the ass. It's ridiculous. It's like, just be a company. Like, you try to virtue signal and you do it wrong, it's just worse for you in the end. And if you do it right, you're still a hypocrite because you're not doing it in countries where these are much more of an issue. Try flying your rainbow flags in Russia, Saudi Arabia, or China. I dare you. Dare you. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, there's nothing else going on in the news. So, yeah. Anyway, so what inspired this drawing that you are working on, Moon? Are you? Was it the discussion about feminine characters? We talked about how it was Chrono Trigger earlier, but
I think she's muted.
I think you are muted right now.
Mooney, you're muted because of the puppos. The
Oh
puppos
yeah, that's
were
right.
making noise.
Yes, puppos were making noise. But yes, no. Yeah. So I basically like from the rant from earlier just started thinking about like strong characters that I could like kind of see pop up, and like the one that stood out the most was Isla from Chrono Trigger, the prehistoric girl. She's so cool. She's my heavy hitter. She's like one of my favorite ones to have in a party. Because like I love the combos that I could make with her, because she's just like, she had this one where she would like do a cat move and like cat scratch, and she would also like call down like rocks to rain down from above, or like this big dino. Oh my gosh, so great, so great. This is like Dino Stomp or Dino Boogie or something like that. I can't remember exactly. Oh heck. Yes.
Atomic Stew is asking us to stream, and perhaps we will. He's asking us to stream Operation Tango. We won't today because Ash has got to go in a little bit, and like I said, I am sitting around like 20-30% operational capacity right now.
Yep.
But it's a co-op like puzzle solver, I want to say.
Okay.
It's like you're taking the role of, like, one person's taking the role of basically the I'm trying here. You should pull this up.
You know
on
what?
Steam here.
I have it. I have the Steam page open, and I just noticed this. This is awesome. Operation Tango Friend Pass. Download the Friend Pass and play for free with a friend who owns the full Operation Tango game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So you can play with a friend. Only one of you has to buy it. That's fantastic. Kudos to that. That's amazing.
Nice.
That they do that.
Yeah. So one person is the agent in the field, and the other person is basically their tech assist back at base, running data and stuff like that.
Nice.
Let's see. I want to see some of the gameplay here. See what this looks like. So I get the feeling. Okay, this isn't showing us much about what the actual game is like. Let's see here. Or choose hacker.
Yeah,
maybe,
so maybe
we'll stream it
tech
next week.
support, I guess, and then the other person is the person who's running the, trying to complete the things in the field. So
that's a neat concept.
I had seen people talking about this, and for some reason, and I'm trying to figure out where I got this from. For some reason, I thought it was one person was that you had to have a VR set for this. And I don't know why. I think it's the way that the UI looks in the game from some of the screenshots. I thought it required at least one person, the agent, the active agent, to actually have be in VR, and then the other person was basically like their their inside their head in their ear, doing stuff and hacking, and then that person didn't need a VR headset for some reason. I thought that that's what this was like, but I see that's not the case. It's actually just meant for two people without a VR thing. I don't think there's any VR support at all. And I'm trying to figure out like how or why did I assume that this was VR, a VR game?
It does sound like, I mean, there's a lot of VR games that are kind of like that.
I think it's the screenshot. If you go to the screenshots, I think it's like it's the one after the Golden Sunset, where you're looking at the person in the in the bus,
how
the subway there.
I see what you mean. The UI is kind of angled.
The UI, I swear that looks like it's a VR thing, and that's what I assumed was going on there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of so this now this game has my interest. Now it only popped up like a couple days ago here. So
yes, June 1st it was released. So that's okay.
Yeah,
that's cool. That's while we're on Steam here, I've came across a couple of other games that I found interesting. I actually downloaded this one. This is one that I was thinking of streaming today, and might in the future. Hellevator. This game is free. I haven't played it yet, but it looks really interesting and it's got good reviews. Basically, it's a puzzle platformer in which you have to, in order to progress and escape hell, I guess, you have to kill yourself repeatedly, and then you possess the nearest body with your spirit or something like that. So it's a messed up concept.
There's a couple of games that follow that kind of strategy. Actually, there's that one Dark Souls looking game that does that. That's coming out. Dark Souls ish looking game, I should say. But yeah, there's some cool concepts out there. Knockout City. This is another one that's kind of like been.
Oh yeah, Knockout City
came out recently. Everybody's talking about it. Kind of interested to see where that one's coming from too. So
I thought Knockout City. I thought it was a.
Yeah.
Oh, you can download the
game.
trial. It is an EA game. That's the problem.
Yeah, and that's the problem. And it requires you to play with EA Play, which is like screw you. So obviously, I'm not going to try it, but I have been hearing people talking about it. That it's
it's
a fun multiplayer.
Apparently, it's decent.
Yeah. So right. Again, it's one of those scenarios where it's like, I'm hoping that more of these studios are actually interested in putting the fun in gaming instead of trying to tell you how you should or should not do things. It's like I really don't care.
You want cake? No, you get this ugly foot.
Yeah.
Yep. So this one caught my interest too. This was Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection. It is just it's a new version of Ghosts and Goblins, and it looks pretty, looking at the graphics, it looks pretty true to the original. I don't know how the gameplay matches up with the old Ghosts and Goblins game. Just that pose, that pose of him running, that's totally the old games there. So this one looked interesting. I'm considering picking it up. Not sure though. Not sure. And then the other one, what was the other one I was looking at? Actually, that might be all of them. So, this is looking dope. So last time that you were able to do art, because you had some trouble with your app, but last time you were able to do the art, Moon, you were working on the Lady Dimitrescu art.
Yeah.
How's that one coming? Not done yet. Well,
not done yet.
No.
And you've been busy. I mean,
yeah, busy.
You were back at work, so.
Yes, it consumes me.
This
is my fun time.
Those damn day jobs.
That's so much time.
I don't know if people even realize that we all have day jobs. Thankfully, I do mine from home, but you guys have to leave your house. And
for many hours a day.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
we can't. It's not easy for us to just pop online and be like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna do this now." It's like we can't really do that.
It's like by the
but-
time I finish everything I need to do in a day, it's like I might have half an hour left to myself at the end. So I'm just like, okay, how hard do I want to push myself tonight? Do I just like listen to some audiobook and go to bed? Or do I chance playing some video games and staying up for like 2 or 3 hours? I need to be responsible.
Yes, and well, you guys work an exhausting job too, and that I have to think like, yeah, it's
all good.
tough being a creative, and I know the struggle. I know the struggle.
Mhm.
Arturo, hey, welcome. Yeah, we are doing very well.
Yeah, Arturo.
You may have to rewind and watch the full stream. We're going to be wrapping up pretty quick here. Next week, so next Sunday is the Bethesda Xbox showcase. We'll definitely cover that one. We'll need to discuss throughout the week which other events we're going to cover. Of course, please, have watch parties in the Discord server for whichever ones you want, and we'll join if we can. But unfortunately, it is the busy season for Moon and Sib's jobs, and to some extent for mine as well. But next, so we'll unless there's some event right at the same time. I'll actually have to look at the schedule. Is there anything next Saturday? I should have looked that up. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Stuff is gonna start kicking off right away.
Yeah, so I don't know what to expect for next week. I mean, maybe we can stream that multiplayer game just to have some casual game time before we get into the busyness of E3 and all that. But there might be news dropping left and right again, so may not have. I know we haven't had live gameplay in a couple of weeks, but anyway, we just take it week by week. So
Basically.
yeah, exactly. So not sure what to expect for next week is what I'm trying to say, but we'll try to have an entertaining show for you. Hope you've all enjoyed the show today. Please do slam that like button if you haven't yet. And of course, when these beautiful works of art are finished, they will be going up on Patreon for the Patreon supporters. The high-res versions will be going up there. Check out the Discord server if you're not part of the Discord server. Find the link in the description below. And we will, we'd love to see you there and have some great conversations about whatever you want to talk about. You can definitely expect some dwarf bunny pictures there pretty soon as well. When is E3 exactly? It is next week. Now, E3, the actual E3 event, I believe, starts on the Monday, but the Bethesda... So, yeah, we might as well talk about the exact times of things. So... Hang on, that's not... Okay, the Forbes has, like, everything. This is again, the problem. Like, you look up E3 schedule, and you get everything that's even loosely connected with E3. So... No, okay, yeah, E3 actually officially starts on the 12th. That's the Saturday. So, 12th to 15th is E3.
But it's the... I can't. Yeah, I really need to iterate this. The events going on in and around the E3 weekend that are not actually connected to E3 are many and numerous.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
So on Saturday, there's going to be the Ubisoft presentation and something from Gearbox, which we'll probably skip the Gearbox one. We might cover Ubisoft. And then Sunday, lots going on. You called it, Sib. They're doing it in the morning this time, North America time. Microsoft Bethesda Showcase, 1 p.m. Eastern time. So that's afternoon, actually. But it's morning. It's 10 a.m. Pacific. So Bethesda's usually done theirs in the evening. So that's different. And that's a much better time, I think, for for a lot of you. So there's some kind of pre-show on the Saturday right when we're doing this podcast. So we'll see. There's a possibility we might skip the Saturday stream and just do a long stream on Sunday. We'll let you know once we finalize all those plans. We will let you know on the Discord server, of course. There's going to be then a Square Enix. There's a Square Enix thing on the Sunday as well, but they must have the times wrong here because they say 12:15 a.m., but they don't give a time zone, and then 3:15 p.m. Eastern time. So PC gaming show as well, Future Games show, Warner Bros., all of that on Sunday. Monday, Capcom and the Take-Two Diversity, Equality, and Inclusion panel. Because I really care what Take-Two has to say about all that. Tuesday, Nintendo Direct. I'll definitely be watching that. Bandai Namco, and then the E3 2021 Garbage Awards show. That's the official title. No, that's not what it's called. But it's...
I was gonna say, they're embracing that, are they? This award show is really about like what titles are standing out, and so I'm really curious to see, because again, like E3 is the weekend and the game reveals are not necessarily as tied to that. So does that mean that something that was not actually at the quote unquote E3 event is up for voting, or is it just things that they had some kind of like financial connection with as far as like the advertising or the actual conference running, various studios and stuff like that? Like It costs money to both go to. This is the funniest thing. It costs money to go to E3 as well as to showcase at E3.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would love that. I would love to run a company like that. Hey, what do you guys sell? Oh, we sell other people's stuff. Oh, so you have like a warehouse where you no. See, we just sell whatever they have. They just come to us and then we just sell it. Oh, okay. So you connect them with a wide base of users. No. They bring their own users. Just like, so what exactly do you do? Well, we just make money off of, what other people make. It's like, but you yourself don't actually make anything. No, we don't actually make anything. Do you do any actual work? Well, like a little, like we set up some areas and put up some flags and some arrows on the ground, and yeah, that's about it. Do you advertise? No. Well, I mean, we advertise, but we get other people to pay for that advertising. It's the biggest, stupidest thing I've like.
Wow.
It's always been that this is like that this thing was always going to come crashing down on them. It was always going to come crashing down on them because they weren't actually offering anything of use. They were only offering what other people were giving them to then turn around and sell to other people. It's like, do you have a bunch of people show up and yeah, but we charge them for entry fee too. It's like, wow, like I wish I could do that. Just like here, I stole a bunch of artwork from a couple of libraries and some books and stuff. Just like, pay me for access into it. It's like, oh, well, the pay is there to like, help regulate things. It's like, okay, sure. So yeah, it's weird. It's bizarre. It's dumb. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Other events and more of their own events have been getting better and better. Like their own events is in like what the studios themselves put out. And so yeah, we've been calling for the death of E3 for a while now. And again, it just boils down to the fact that these people flat out refuse to evolve with the times or to even, treat other people with respect. It was always a money game. It was always a game of like, well, what kind of favor can you do for me? And what kind of favor can I get out of this? What kind of thing I get out of that? And it is just kind of like, bleh. It's really gross.
Tasteful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Extremely distasteful.
All right. Well, I think that
Yeah.
pretty much wraps it up
Yeah.
for now. It'll be a busy week next week. Busy weekend next weekend.
And I'm hoping I'm not nearly exhausted next week as I am today.
Yeah, it's the it's the tough part of doing live content. But anyway, right on. The art's looking great, and yeah, I can't wait to see this one when it's finished. Looks really good. So,
Rocks.
fantastic. Yeah, I think we'll wrap it up here. I do, like I said, I'm gonna be doing other things in just a few minutes here. So, yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. Check out the Discord server. Slam that like button if you appreciate this content, and leave comments below. Let us know what you're talking about, or what you think of what we've talked about. Of course, you can always drop topics in the Discord server to let us know what you want to hear about, and sorry, distracted by a couple of comments here. So no Sony Sega, yeah, no. Well, Sony might do something around the same time. Like I've said, there's going to be other events going on that are not connected to E3, but yeah, Sony is not officially part of E3. So there's, there'll be other stuff that's not even been announced yet, and a lot of these things that I even announced and told you about, there's no time given, so we don't even know when they're happening. Oh yeah, I was going to say about the E3 awards show. The reason I call it the garbage awards show is because it's like a handful of big news outlets are going to be voting on what they think are the most anticipated games of E3, and it's like, what's even the point? There's you're not even getting any audience input on that. Why do we care?
Right.
Why should I care what PC Gamer and or Kotaku? I don't think Kotaku is one of them, but pardon me. Why do I care what these corporate outlets think are the most anticipated games, especially since we know they've got financial connections to the game companies? I mean, give me a break. It's garbage.
Right.
So anyway, thanks so much for checking out the stream today. Really appreciate you all being here, and we will talk to you again very soon.